Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speak Your Truth podcast with Kristen. We are on a conscious journey to enlightenment. I really hope everyone is enjoying our podcast. Please be free about your feedback so that we can make sure that we're helping all of you have your thoughts addressed on this podcast. Today, I thought I would talk about the internet and the assaults that we are experiencing through bullying and venting and judging others on the internet. So I thought I would give just a little bit of talk about that and talk a little bit about my general opinion as to some of where that's coming from and what we might be able to do to create change. It really is quite sad to me that so many people, children, adults against children, children against adults, are going against one another. It's not what life is about. That's how suffering is made. We aren't here to go against one another. We're here to enjoy each other, to find happiness and love and unity and harmony. That's the ultimate goal. And yet, this platform that could unite the world has become a platform used for dumping our fear, our hurt, our anger, our pain. And then we propel that forward, thereby affecting those around us with that darkness of emotion. And it's sad. I mean, that's not why we're here, you know? We're here to really group, to know one another, and to really find that acceptance that lies within all of us. And so why would we take a platform that is just so ripe for unity and harmony and grouping together and use it to fragment and destroy? I have a couple thoughts. I think that communication in our country has broken down over time. I think that's one issue, and I will talk briefly about that. And I think secondly, I think our media has really been on a fear-based role for quite a few years now, and I think that really has fed and given permission to everybody to vent their opinions, judgments, and fears on public forums. So what has broken down in our communication in this country that would lead to this? Well, we spend our whole life being told who we are and how to feel. That's how we learn to communicate growing up. And then we get very used to telling others about them in our style of communicating. And obviously there's a little bit more that goes into communication, but I want to shortchange it today. So we are very used to telling others about them rather than expressing ourselves and expressing what it is we're experiencing and taking that experience we're having inside, knowing what it is we want to experience, and then shifting our world towards that experience. So here you are, you're a teenager, you're going through very emotional time. We all know that as teens, we all went through emotional times in one way or another. Most people tell me that high school was not their favorite years, and more than most people tell me that middle school sucked. So obviously during those times in our life, there's a lot of upheaval, right? And so now if we're used to telling people about them, but we're not used to expressing ourselves, that sets the first stage for using this forum to communicate that which we don't know how to say out loud. Okay. The other part is our anger in communicating. We've never really learned to express anger. We watch it get used, and we see that all the time. And so now somebody is hurt. The secondary emotion is anger. And what do? We take that anger and we vent and we judge and we hurt another human being on the internet. So just from that level alone, our communication has broken down tremendously over the years. Consequently, our family structure and our relationships have broken down because we are fragmenting through the fear that seems to have picked up and been a very large part of our style of communicating, especially of recently. So the communication is an issue. Media is an issue. Media, for years now, I've been on this like soapbox that everything is sensationalized through fear. You can't sell love anymore. You sell fear. I remember when I was a kid growing up, we had a show called Love American Style and everybody watched it. Now we don't have anything like that. And it's it's so different. Now we watch a newscast every day. It's like, death and doom and fragmentation and fear. And it's like, what are we doing, right? So we've fragmented this country. And with fragmentation, we don't feel the same level of responsibility, connectedness, or acceptance with the others around us. So I do feel that those two things kind of set a general stage. That being said, we're having real issues in this country with bullying anyway. And we have a lot of divisive opinions and judgments going on in the country right now. And I think with that being very vocal, that we have a lot of our young people and adults, quite frankly, using this social media and the internet to really uncensored go against another. Freedom is about our differences, about our diversity. And as soon as we start to think that only one side is right, that only one opinion is right, we take away freedom in one way or another. And once we start to label people and destroy them, we are absolutely destroying ourselves in the process. So we have this bullying thing taking place, and it's so intense now that people are pulling off of social media and pulling off of the internet because they don't like the barrage of assaults and the nastiness and the bullying. We have an increase in suicide over the intensity of the bullying that's happening on our young adults and children's cell phones and on the internet and social media. We've got, more violence in our games that are kind of promoting it, which is, we grew up with violent cartoons. We knew how to separate out the cartoon from the reality. But today there's a blurring that's occurring because I think all of these facets are coming together. We need to look at our own self, one person at a time. Do you like the way you feel when you don't like somebody? Do you like the way you feel when you're worried about somebody not liking you? Now take that and multiply that by 10 or multiply it by 100. Do you like that feeling? Probably not. Most of us really don't want to feel that way. We want to get away from that feeling. We want to feel light. We want to feel expansive. We want to feel accepted and liked and happy and right? And in that, we usually enjoy the person next to us. And so we are really wanting happiness, but creating destruction. So it needs to stop. And it stops one person at a time by looking inside yourself and being aware of that very feeling of not liking the way you feel when you're being judged or judging, when you're hating someone or being hated, when you're going against someone or having someone go against you. It kind of feeds into the idea that the person putting all of that yuck out there about another human being, would they really act like that if it was face-to-face communication? I think probably not. So it says that it's giving us a platform to publicize and I'm missing my word, share that angry opinion of doom and destruction. And that's just not what life is about. That's what suffering is about. We need to turn it around. So inside yourself, you don't like the way it feels. Create the experience you wish to have. And make sure that you're helping your children understand that concept. Are you creating the experience you wish to have? If your daughter is angry at her girlfriend and she uses social media to start to go against her, even if she's not using her name, she's saying, you did this and you did this on purpose and you must not like me. Well, you don't worry about that. I'm going to let everybody know and blah, blah, blah. Who knows? I'm making that up. But let's say that happens. How do you teach your daughter that the way she feels when she's writing all of that isn't a good feeling for her either? And the mother of the daughter receiving it, or the fathers of the daughters sending and receiving that little bit of nonsense. How do you help them reflect within themselves? How are you feeling in the midst of that heavy-duty judgment and anger and attack? And how do you want to feel? If you want to feel accepted, if the bully thinks she's getting people to align with her, to be on her side so she can boost and feel good about herself, you're never going to feel good about yourself when you're doing something mean or hurtful outward, because that's refueling the fear inside of yourself to feel that way. If you're judging outward, you're fearful of being judged, because we only judge in the way we're fearful of being judged. So know your inner experience. Know that you want to experience happiness and joy, unity and acceptance. And if those are the feelings that bring great joy about in life and end the suffering, then please, one person at a time, think before you type. I really want to thank you for taking the time to maybe turn our playgrounds on social media into those playgrounds that accept every child and every adult into a joyous experience. And I thank you. And if you have your thoughts, please put your comments on YouTube. And if you're enjoying these podcasts, please make sure you subscribe. It means the world to us. We're trying to hit our 100 mark. Also, I go live on Facebook every Monday and Thursday at 1:30. Those are interactive programs, and I really ask and invite each and every one of you to join me on Facebook Live to ask your questions, give your opinions, and participate in whatever the topic of the day is. I thank you very much for joining me, and visit me often on KristenBomas.com.